The Harley's engine growled like a caged beast as Marcus pulled into the desert gas station. Dust clouds rose from under his tires, mixing with the scorching Arizona heat. He killed the ignition, and silence swallowed everything except the ticking of cooling metal. Behind him, 8 more bikes rolled in. His brothers, his chapter, his blood on the road. They moved like shadows, leather vests adorned with patches that told stories most people would never understand. The girl at the pump couldn't stop staring. She was maybe 19, wearing a faded denim jacket 2 sizes too big, her hands trembling as she held the nozzle. Marcus noticed her eyes weren't on the bikes. They were locked on his vest. More specifically, the patch on his back, the winged skull with chains, the mark of the Hells Angels. And then she said it. 5 words that stopped everything. "My mom has your tattoo." Welcome to Silent Bike Tales, where the roads speak louder than words and every journey carries a story that changes lives. If you're here for the raw truth about life on 2 wheels, hit that subscribe button and ride with us. Share this story with someone who needs to hear it. Now let's get back to the road. Marcus turned slowly. His sunglasses reflected the girl's pale face. Around him, the other riders had gone still. Tank, a mountain of a man with a gray beard down to his chest, let his kickstand drop with a metallic clang. Reaper, whose scarred knuckles had seen more fights than most men see birthdays, stepped closer. The tension was thick enough to choke on. "Say that again," Marcus said. His voice wasn't loud. It didn't need to be. The girl swallowed hard, her eyes darting between the men surrounding her like wolves circling prey. "I said, my mom. She has that tattoo. The same one. On her shoulder blade." She pointed at Marcus's back. "I've seen it my whole life." Marcus removed his sunglasses. His eyes were dark, calculating. In 23 years of riding with the Angels, he'd heard a lot of things. Stories, lies, desperate attempts from people trying to impress or intimidate. But this girl wasn't trying to do either. She looked terrified and confused in equal measure. "What's your name?" he asked. "Riley." "Riley, you know what you're looking at?" She nodded. "I think so." "You think?" Tank's voice rumbled like thunder. "Kid, you either know or you don't." Riley's jaw tightened. "I know what Hell's Angels are. My mom never talked about it. But that tattoo, she's had it since before I was born. I saw it every time she came out of the shower, every summer when she wore tank tops. When I asked her about it, she'd go quiet. Just said it was from another life." Marcus exchanged glances with Reaper. They'd been riding together since the 90s, through 3 states and more blood than either cared to remember. If this girl was telling the truth, if her mother really bore their mark, then this wasn't some random encounter at a gas station. This was something else. Something that needed answers. "What's your mother's name?" Marcus asked. "Claire. Claire Donovan." The name hit Marcus like a freight train. He didn't move, didn't blink, but inside, something shifted. Tank's eyes widened. Even Reaper, who never showed emotion, looked like he'd seen a ghost. "Get on your bike," Marcus told Riley. She blinked. "What?" "You heard me. Get on your bike, your car, whatever you came in. You're taking us to your mother." Riley's car was a beat-up Honda Civic with a cracked windshield and a Saints bumper sticker that had seen better days. She drove with both hands gripping the wheel, checking her rearview mirror every few seconds. Behind her, 9 Harleys formed a processional. The sound was biblical, a rolling thunder that made cars pull to the shoulder, that turned heads in every town they passed through. She led them off the highway, down a 2-lane road that cut through desert scrubland and forgotten towns. The sun was starting to dip, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple. Marcus rode point, his mind racing faster than his bike. Claire Donovan. He hadn't heard that name in 18 years. They called her widow back then. Not because she'd lost a husband, she'd never married, but because she rode like she had nothing left to lose, like she was chasing death and daring it to catch her. She'd been fierce, loyal, and one of the only women ever to earn her place among their chapter. She ran with them for 3 years. 3 hard years of desert runs, bar fights, and miles that stretched into infinity. And then one night she was gone. No goodbye. No explanation. Just disappeared like smoke in the wind. The club looked for her. Spent months tracking leads that went nowhere. Eventually, they had to let it go. People leave. It's what they do. But widow Claire, she'd left something behind. And if this girl was hers, if Riley was telling the truth, then Claire had a damn good reason for running. The Honda turned onto a gravel driveway that led to a small house surrounded by Joshua trees. The paint was peeling, and the porch sagged under the weight of years. But the yard was clean, and there were flowers in pots by the door. Riley parked and got out, but she didn't walk toward the house. She waited for Marcus. He shut off his bike and stood. The others fanned out behind him, a silent wall of leather and iron. "She doesn't know I'm bringing you here," Riley said. Her voice was shaking now. "She's going to be pissed." "Then she's going to be pissed," Marcus replied. He walked toward the front door. Riley scrambled ahead of him and knocked. "Mom! Mom, open up." There was movement inside. A curtain shifted. And then the door opened. Claire Donovan stood in the doorway, and time collapsed. She looked older, lines around her eyes, gray threading through her dark hair, but she was still her. Still widow. Her eyes went to Riley first, then to Marcus, then to the 8 men standing behind him. Her face drained of color. "No," she whispered. "No, you can't be here." Marcus didn't move. "Hello, Claire. You need to leave. Right now." Her voice was steady, but her hands were shaking. "I'm not part of that anymore. I left. I'm done." "We know," Marcus said. "We've known for 18 years. We're not here for you." Claire's eyes darted to Riley, and something in her expression cracked. Fear. Pure, raw fear. "What did you do?" she asked her daughter. Riley's face crumpled. "I didn't know. I saw his vest and I recognized the tattoo and I—" "Get inside," Claire snapped. But Marcus stepped forward. "No. We're not doing this like that. Widow, you owe us a conversation." "I don't owe you a damn thing. You ran. You left the club. You took something with you." He pointed at Riley. "Is she the reason?" Claire's silence was answer enough. The living room was small and cluttered with the kind of life Marcus had never known. Photos on the walls, books stacked on shelves, a blanket draped over the couch. It was warm. It was home. Claire sat on the edge of the couch, her hands clasped between her knees. Riley stood in the corner, looking like she wanted to disappear. The bikers filled the space like shadows. Marcus sat across from Claire. Tank and Reaper flanked the door. "Talk," Marcus said. Claire's jaw worked. "What do you want me to say?" "The truth. You left without a word. We thought you were dead. Then we stopped thinking about it because that's what you do when someone doesn't want to be found. But now your daughter shows up, says you have our mark, and here we are. So talk." Claire exhaled slowly. "I found out I was pregnant." The room went still. It was a one-night thing. Some guy passing through Tucson. I didn't even remember his name. And when I realized I was carrying a kid, I had a choice. Keep riding with you or give her a life. A real life. Marcus's expression didn't change. "So you chose her?" "Of course I chose her." Claire's voice rose. "You think I wanted to raise a kid around that? Around the violence, the runs, the cops, the danger? I wanted her to go to school. To have friends who weren't criminals. To not wake up wondering if her mother was coming home in a body bag." She looked at Riley. "I wanted her to be normal." Riley's voice was small. "You never told me any of this." "Because you didn't need to know," Claire said. "That part of my life, it was over. I left the tattoo because it's part of who I was. But I built something different for you. Something better." Marcus leaned back. "You did. She looks healthy. Looks like she's got a good head on her shoulders. You did right by her, widow." Claire's eyes glistened. "Then why are you here?" "Because she came to us. And when she said your name, I realized something. You left, but you never officially out. You didn't give back your patch. You didn't close the door. In 18 years, you just vanished. Claire's face hardened. So what? You're here to collect? To punish me for leaving? No, Marcus said. We're here to make sure you're okay. And to tell you that if you ever need us, you call. That's what the ink means, Claire. It's not a prison. It's a promise. You rode with us. You bled with us. That doesn't just go away because you wanted a different life. He stood. The others followed. Tank nodded at Claire. Reaper gave her a long look, something almost like respect in his scarred face. Marcus paused at the door. You did good, Widow. You got out. You built something. Not many people can say that. But if the world ever comes for you or your girl, you remember, you're still ours. And we take care of our own. Claire's voice cracked. Thank you. Riley watched them leave, watched the line of bikes fire up and roll down the driveway like a mechanical thunderstorm. When the sound faded, she turned to her mother. Who were you? She asked. Claire smiled, tears streaming down her face. Someone I'm glad you'll never have to be. The desert highway stretched out under a sky full of stars. Marcus rode in silence, the wind whipping past his helmet. Tank pulled up beside him and shouted over the engine noise. Think she'll call. Marcus didn't answer. He didn't need to. Some people leave the road. Some people find peace. But the road never forgets. And neither do the people who ride it. That tattoo on Claire's shoulder wasn't just ink. It was a reminder that some bonds don't break, even when you walk away. Some promises are forever. And sometimes the greatest act of loyalty is letting someone go, and being there if they ever need to come back. The bikes roared into the night, carrying men who lived by a code most would never understand. A code written in scars, in engine oil, in miles that stretched beyond the horizon. And somewhere in a small house surrounded by Joshua trees, a woman who used to be called Widow watched the taillights disappear and whispered a prayer of gratitude. Because she knew, she would always know, that if the darkness ever came, those lights would come back. Not because she asked, but because that's what family does. And on the road, family is everything. Claude is AI and can make mistakes. Please double-check responses. Sonnet 4.5